That was well said. Why are you so smart?
For the best advice about moving to Mexico, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I upload new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Alex, and I moved to Mexico from the US in 2017. I've called Querétaro home ever since. In today's video, I am here with Taylor, my husband. He has graciously agreed to help me with this video. I want to share our first impressions of Guadalajara. So Taylor and I took the bus here from Querétaro, wow, the first week of May.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to go back to Querétaro yesterday, but on Friday I asked Taylor if he would be down to stay another week, and he said...
I said, let's do it.
Before we jump into our first impressions of Guadalajara, I want to give you some general facts about the city.
Located in western central Mexico, Guadalajara is the capital of the state of Jalisco. According to the most recent census, the city itself has a population of approximately 1.4 million inhabitants. The Guadalajara metropolitan area as a whole is home to just over 5 million people. Some of Mexico's most recognizable exports are thanks to Guadalajara, including tequila and mariachi music.
In this video, I don't want to compare Guadalajara and Querétaro. I know some people have been asking me to do that, and maybe down the road I can make a comparison video, but the purpose of this video is just to share our first impressions of the city. Now, that being said, the very first point on this list is, I guess, how much Guadalajara feels like a city. I know we usually think of Querétaro like a city, but yeah, not so much compared to Guadalajara.
Yeah, well, in the case of Querétaro, I would say that Querétaro was a town that became a city very quickly, but it's still on the smaller side. Guadalajara, it just feels like a major city. It has more noise, there's more traffic, it takes longer to get from point A to point B. Lots of people out at night. There are lots of street food puestos and things like that. But it definitely has that big city feel to it, I would say.
One of the questions I've been getting a lot is, do you feel safe? What's it like walking around in the city? And I've got to say, yes, I feel safe here in Guadalajara. I've felt safe here the past 10 days or so that we've been here. I've been out all hours of the day, pretty much all hours of the night too. Most of the time I've been in a group or with Taylor, but I've also been out, with just one other girlfriend at night, coming back, from a bar at like 2:30, 3 in the morning, and we both felt safe. Nobody bothered us on the street.
In any of the areas where you'd want to be at night, I get the feeling that there will always be people out and about, grabbing a late night taco or who knows what, running errands, but it has felt very safe to me so far, definitely.
We've both lived in a big city before. We lived in Madrid for over 2 years, and I think that a lot of the safety things, knowing how to maneuver, how to get around in a big city, just keeping an eye on your stuff. I mean, things happen in Mexico just like they happen anywhere in the world, but I think that you don't have to do anything extra special here in Guadalajara to be safe in the city, I would say.
Yeah, I would say if you feel comfortable being out and about in New York or Chicago or LA or any big city in the world, probably, you're not going to feel any less safe here. In fact, I would imagine that, especially if you speak Spanish, you'll feel more safe here.
Something that has pleasantly surprised me about Guadalajara is how green it is here. For a city of this size, for a city in Mexico, it is incredibly, incredibly green. There's so many trees, so many plants. I love that so many of the restaurants and the cafes incorporate plants into their decor. I've been really surprised, and I can't imagine seeing the city during the rainy season, post-rainy season. I bet it just absolutely is vibrant.
It feels a lot more tropical. Maybe that's the fact that it's closer to the coast or
also lower elevation.
Lower elevation, but but the city has obviously done a wonderful job of planting trees and taking care of plants throughout the city, and it really shows. It feels, I love that. It feels very special.
One of the most popular questions that I get about Querétaro, one of the most frequently asked questions, is where should I stay when I come to visit? And I always recommend that people stay in the Centro Histórico, in the historic center. That's where we live in Querétaro. But here in Guadalajara, that would definitely not be my recommendation. In the vlog that I put out last week, I went to the Historic Center, spent an afternoon, morning, afternoon, walking around there, seeing the sights. And that's what I would recommend. That would be my advice for anyone visiting Guadalajara. Make the Historic Center kind of a half-day trip, but base yourself in another part of the city. Last week we were staying with our friends Luis and Mao at their house in the Santa Teresita neighborhood, and just yesterday we switched over to an Airbnb in Americana. There's lots of cafes, restaurants, bars. It seems like a really good place to base yourself if you are interested in getting to know Guadalajara.
One thing that's nice about this area is that it's very walkable, so that's great. You don't have to worry about taking an Uber, or if you do, it's going to be a short ride. So I've really enjoyed that, being able to walk around and explore, and there's no lack of cafes or restaurants by any means. Lots of art. It definitely seems like a place where young people and young families live.
When my friend Luis moved to Guadalajara, one of the first things that she said to me was, Alex, oh my gosh, the people here are so friendly. They are so nice. And I was like, okay, Luis, people in Mexico are just friendly. People in Mexico are just nice. But I mean, she was right. The people in Guadalajara are super nice, super friendly. Everywhere that we have gone, shops, restaurants, you name it, everywhere, the people helping, the service has been great. The service has been really accommodating, really helpful. And even, I mean, in non-service scenarios, when we've been out at bars or whatever, just chatting to people have been really nice and really open.
We stayed with our friends for a little over a week, and by the end of the week, I felt like I was friends with the person at the little store around the corner. I felt like I was friends with the guys at the taco stand or the taqueria by their house. The best word I can think of is jolly.
Which that's not something that people usually say about living in a big city. People talk about, the hustle and the bustle and, people making a beeline for wherever they've got to go and being very serious, but that's not been the case here in Guadalajara. Going along with how nice and how friendly everybody has been here, I also wanted to say how open-minded the people here in Guadalajara seem. It's been really cool to be out and about, walking around in the neighborhoods, and just to see so much art. There's a real creative spirit about this city, and everybody's just doing their own thing. I'm thinking back to our first weekend here. We went to an open air kind of thrift market, flea market in Parque Rojo, and it was the coolest vibe and really epic street style from the people there. That's not something that you see in Querétaro for sure.
You can tell that people feel able to be themselves, to dress how they want, and to be who they want here, at least much more than in other cities. And that's something really special. I think it's a sign of a healthy city, and a city that people want to live in, that people from all backgrounds want to live in. It feels very diverse in that sense, I would say.
I've got to hand it to Guadalajara, and this is saying a lot considering that we used to live in Madrid, but this has got to be the biggest city for nightlife that I've ever been in. Seems like there's something going on every single night of the week, and it goes on till late.
I think I mostly agree. I don't know if it can keep up with nightlife in cities like Mexico City. However, for the size of the city, it's amazing. And the bang for your buck is much better here than I think anywhere else that I've ever been. And yeah, there's always something going on, and it doesn't feel too overwhelming. It's not too hard to get from place to place if you're bar hopping, and in general the vibe is very, I want to say chill, but it's just you can find what you're looking for, maybe.
Especially the places where we've been going out, the bars, the clubs. I feel like the vibe has been very relaxed. I think I've worn tennis shoes pretty much every night that we've gone out. It's not super posh. You definitely don't need to worry about bringing your tacones, bringing your heels to go out here in Guadalajara. I'm sure that there are those places. I know that there are those places, but especially in the neighborhoods that we've been, it's been more of a low-key chill vibe, which I've really liked.
Absolutely. Yeah, like she said, you can find that especially over towards the Andares shopping center and a little bit outside of the city, but you can find a bit more of the posh areas. Upscale nightlife, if you will, but in general, it seems like everyone is welcome to partake in the nightlife. It seems very relaxed and very welcoming, I would say.
In the vlog that I put out last week, I kept talking about, I think I mentioned 3 different times, how hot it is here in Guadalajara. But I just want to say that this is the hottest month here, and it's also the hottest month back home in Querétaro. May is just notoriously hot in this part of the country this time of year. So I don't want you to think that, or I don't want the climate to be a major deterrent, because I think overall Guadalajara has a pretty good climate.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. In fact, the lady at the corner store near where we were staying last week told me that Guadalajara is famous for having some of the best weather in all of Mexico. She did mention that's changed a little bit in recent years with global warming. This is all according to her. But it definitely seems like there's great weather all year round, and but I will say that one thing locals have also mentioned is that when it rains here, it rains a lot, and that must also have something to do with why it's so green here. I often check weather in different cities around Mexico just because I'm curious, and Guadalajara does always seem to have very nice weather, so it definitely seems to be extremely livable in that sense.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I know that we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when we were talking about nightlife, but the cost of living, the cost of being out and about and doing things here in Guadalajara has seemed very affordable, especially for the size of the city.
I was pleasantly surprised by this as well. I feel like pretty much anywhere we've been, things are cheaper than they would be in Querétaro, definitely cheaper than they would be in Mexico City. And it seems like from the people that I've talked to, it seems like rents are much more affordable than in other places. I've been quite surprised by that, especially for the size of the city and the amenities and the different entertainment options that you have here. It seems very affordable.
My plan this week, with my extra week here in Guadalajara, is to actually film a cost of living video with my friend Luis, who has called the city home since January. We're going to talk about the cost of living, about finding an apartment here. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask her, feel free to leave those in the comments below. Thank you, Taylor, for sharing your thoughts, for helping me give first impressions of Guadalajara. If you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up because that really helps to support my channel. I'm Alex from backpackingbrunette.com. Thanks for watching.